All right, welcome to the channel. Yes, this is not Formula One. Very well spotted. This is Winning Formula Sports. Trying to get into World Cup mode at the moment. 3 days into it. Well, day four starts today. Actually, there's a match on right now. Morocco and Croatia still 0-0. But 3 days of football down. What do we think so far? It's been an interesting ride from that very first match between Qatar and Ecuador. It looked like it was going to be a goal fest at one point in time. It looked like it was going to be very controversial, but nothing really came of it. We had a goal disallowed under seemingly controversial circumstances. It wasn't too controversial, actually, as it turns out. I've had a look at the replay several times. It was just about offside. The rule is pretty harsh. Especially when they take it to technology like that. If you're an arm or a leg offside, I'm not. Uh, it's harsh. It's harsh. But anyway, the rules are the rules, and everybody will live with the same rules. So it is what it is. Enner Valencia, yeah, he was on for probably the golden boot if he kept the form that he had in the first half there. So he had, of course, two goals and one goal disallowed. Could have had more by the looks of it, but it didn't materialize. So that was a nice little starter to the World Cup. That just kind of that gave us an idea of what we were in for, I suppose. In particular, with all of the injury time that they played, and this is a new factor that's come into the whole football arena as well. Um, then day two, of course, day two we had Iran versus England. We had Netherlands versus Senegal, and we also had the USA versus Wales. USA versus Wales was probably the match I was most looking forward to. Also, really wanted to see the Netherlands, how they're going to get on, and of course, you have to tune in for the England matches. How can you not? How can you not? We know so many of those players. Okay, I'm going to switch over. Let's have a look at this. So here we go now. Here are the World Cup results that we have so far. As you can see, yeah, Qatar lost to Ecuador, and we've spoken about that. Pretty one-sided affair. Of course, they managed to keep it scoreless in the second half, but it did look like it was going to be a rout for Ecuador. Then England stepped up big time on Monday with their match against Iran, 6-2. A lot of positives to take away from that for England. Iran, of course, are ranked 20th in the world, believe it or not. They're actually ranked 20th in the world. Whereas, by comparison, Hungary, who recently beat England in the Nations Cup, are ranked somewhere around 36th in the world. Not a major issue because, of course, we're playing for very different priorities here. I think England have certainly upped their game for the World Cup, so I wouldn't be worried about that. The concern that England should have, though, is that they did concede two goals, and it looked like their defence was cut out a little bit. So we'll see if in time they're able to do anything about that. Maybe the reintroduction of the five-man defence. Senegal, Netherlands. Netherlands, it looks, if you're to just purely look at the scoreline, it looks like it was a very, very comfortable match for the Netherlands. That was not the case. They waited until very late in the day to score their goals. And let me just click into that here and we can have a look at some of the stats behind this match. Stats, this is exactly what we want to see. It was Gapco and Klassen that scored the goals. Look at that, 84th minute and the 99th minute. So once again, very long injury time being played here in this match. Possession, as you can see, very even, very, very even, 44% versus 45%, and then 11% in contest. Goals obviously a little bit skewed to one side. Um, yeah, that's all to do with goals, assists. Yeah, obviously you would expect that to be skewed as well. But the attempts on goal, and this is quite stark. You can see that Senegal had more attempts on goal. They actually had just as many shots on target. They had more shots off target as you would expect, and inside the penalty area they had 7 shots, whereas outside the penalty area they also had 7 shots. So they're keeping it nice and consistent there. But just more shooting in general than the Netherlands. So the Netherlands, I want to see them do well, but I was a little bit disappointed, I guess, with their performance in that match. But anyway, that's what happens. Bringing us back then to the final match of the day. It was the United States versus Wales, a very young US team. Of course, there was a lot of trying to get around who's playing for the US, especially when you hear that Weah plays for the US. And yes, that is George Weah's son, so Tim Weah, and he was the first goal scorer. United States looked really good in the first half of this match. They could have scored more than one goal. Then ultimately in the second half, Wales decided that they were going to play for about 30 minutes, and they had a lot of sustained pressure towards the end of the match, and they were eventually awarded a penalty, which Gareth Bale dispatched. Bale didn't have a great match. He really didn't have a good match, and if it wasn't for that penalty, I think things would look a little bit worse for him. And if we just quickly look at the stats again for that one, look, the US dominated possession. Yeah, okay, goals and assists and all that, it doesn't matter, but attempts at goal, once again, a few more attempts actually for Wales, and that was mostly from the second half. You can see they had 3 on target versus 1 on target for the US, and then off target the US had a little bit more. Inside outside penalty area, fairly even there, fairly even, so not too much to read into that one. That brings us up to yesterday. Well, we had drama and we had suspense, and then we had a one-way traffic just to finish off the day. So the drama, Argentina, Saudi Arabia. Look at that scoreline. Look at the scoreline. 2-1 to Saudi Arabia. Wouldn't have predicted that in a million years. In fact, I predicted 6-0 for Argentina. So that's how wrong I got that. Really, really got it wrong. Saudi Arabia, though, looked good. They played very, very well. They were dedicated to the cause. Hopefully, they can bring that sort of performance with them to their remaining 2 matches as well. And if they do, they have a very good chance of qualifying out of this group. So 2-1. The stats, of course, do lie a little bit. And let's have a look at the stats here. And you can see that Argentina had the majority of the possession. But that's to be totally expected. Some fantastic defending, reactive defending from Saudi Arabia at stages during that match. But in terms of the goals, obviously Saudi Arabia had more attempts on goal, 14 versus 3. So Saudi Arabia were very economical with their chances. On target 6-2, off target 5-0, inside the penalty area 10-3, and outside the penalty area 4-0. Yeah, really would appear to be one-way traffic, but as I said, the stats sometimes lie, and Saudi Arabia were very good value for their win. So kind of wish them the best of luck in the next matches. And then within their group, let's just get back down here. Of course, we have Mexico and Poland. This for me was a huge match because the winner of this potentially is taking second in the group, and so we're no clearer on who's taking second in the group. Poland did get a penalty, which Lewandowski missed. Can you believe it? Lewandowski missed a penalty. But once again, it's kind of, for me, it's a case of Poland not really turning up to a tournament, or they haven't made a full appearance yet, I would say, based on that. It's not the end of the world drawing with Mexico, but they've still to play Argentina and Saudi Arabia, who, as I said, looked very, very good yesterday. So all to play for in that group still. So the big questions now at the moment, and let's go in here because I think it would be nice to have a look at the table. Okay, this is how the table stands at the moment. Argentina, rock bottom of this table. So Argentina will still look to qualify, and that could be to the detriment of Poland and Mexico. Yeah. So that group is suddenly very, very exciting. In terms of next fixtures in that group, let's come down along and see if we can find them. Getting close now, getting close. So Argentina will play Mexico next, whilst Poland will play Saudi Arabia. That's all happening on the 26th. So coming soon. That's going to be exciting. Then, of course, we had Denmark and Tunisia as well earlier in the day. 0-0. Both teams looked very, very good there, actually. Both teams, I was impressed with them. But once again, trying to pick who's going to come second in this group. I would have put it down between Denmark and Tunisia. I would have given the thumbs up for Denmark. Actually, I think Denmark have an opportunity to do something against France as well. It could be proved completely wrong on that. So this was in a sense slightly disappointing for Denmark not to get the win here, but Tunisia were very good, and I think it was very 50-50. They had an equal amount of chances as well. And then France, a little scare at the start of the match between France and Australia, but does finish 4-1 to France. So they got in gear eventually, and they did look very, very dangerous, like a goal scoring machine. And if you even just look at the goal scorers, you can see Rabiot, Giroud, Mbappe, Giroud again. So Giroud is really on form. Yeah, really, really impressive from France. And just looking at the table, then it already gives a big advantage to France. As you can see, they are on 3 points, whilst everybody else is on 1 point or 0 points. Yeah, this is going to be some group. Obviously, looking forward to the next matches there. Let's just quickly check on what will be the next matches. So I'm going to go beyond the 26th. Oh no, we're right on the 26th. Have a look at that. France will play Denmark. There's the big one. That's the one I want to see. And Tunisia will play Australia as well. That'll be interesting. I fancy Tunisia to get the win there. But Australia have kind of let themselves down a little bit. They looked like they could play some good soccer at stages during the match yesterday, or last night, I should say. In terms of England, they have the United States next. There we go. And that means that Iran have Wales. So kind of all to play for there in a sense as well. So if you look at the table, and I fully anticipate that England will beat the United States. It mightn't be as easy as we think, but England have a great attacking team. Wales then versus Iran. This is really critical for Wales to get the win if they want to qualify out of this group. Who's going to come out of this group, Wales or the United States? It's all in the balance. All in the balance. To state the complete obvious. To state the obvious. So that's where we're up to at the moment. Yeah, so let me know in the comments what's been your favorite part of the World Cup so far. Have you gotten to see many of the matches? Yesterday, I think there were 4 matches on. That's a struggle. That's a struggle. Most people have a day job, and there's no time to be watching these matches. So the highlights can be quite valuable in the evening as well. And who's your tip for the World Cup, or who are you going for? Would love to hear this. And yeah, thanks very much for joining us. I know I rambled on a little bit there. It's great to have you here. So that was the recap after day 3, and we'll try to do another recap if I'm feeling so inclined in the not too distant future. Thanks for joining, and speak to you soon.